I want to say welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. Told y'all I had a busy day, another busy day today. So, and my telephone got to ringing, calls, and so that's why I am dragging. But I'm not going to hold you long, I promise you. We're just going to talk about the election results, and we're going to get out of here. Okay, so sit tight, do like me, go and get you a cup of coffee, and come back and let's get ready to testify. Okay. Okay, again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. I'm trying to get rid of some stuff here. I want to say it's been a long day for me, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get through this here. I'm going to try. But anyway, I know that there's been a lot of talk about the mayor's election in regards to there's something too loud here. In regards to, turn this down. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I think that's better. In regards to the way the votes fell, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about tonight. If I can go up here to try to explain to you exactly what are we talking about when we start talking about the 50 plus one or 50% majority and the 40%, 20% rule, what I call it. Okay. But I want to say quickly that before we get into the show, that the Amendment 4, you know, the amendment that I talked to you all about, I referred to, this was an amendment, uh, Responsible Growers of Arkansas, they tried to pass uh, the amendment to where they're going to have a recreational marijuana use. You know, first initially they used it for medical reasons, but they finally got it on the ballot after fighting, having their court battles or what have you, went all the way up to the Arkansas Supreme Court, and the court did allow it to take place, to be placed on the ballot. Of course, Amendment 4, it failed. Don't have those numbers. I think it was something like 50%, something that was against it, to 40-some% who was for, the Amendment 4 in terms of those being able to possess uh, marijuana for recreational use. So it failed. So we live today, but they're going to try to put it back on the ballot come 24. But it did fail. Thank God. And of course, I don't think I get anything else over here to talk about. I did want to talk about a play that's coming up. It's a young lady here, one of our own, here in Blytheville, Arkansas. She's sponsoring a play over in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And so I just want to run this clip for you right quick, and just let you just check her out, okay? So let me run this clip right quick and let you check her out. And this is Mrs. Hazel Mays. She will be coming to you with the play, You Are Not the Wife. She wrote this play, okay? So please show her some love and go out to pay her. This is the information. You can call her 623-2816. More information, like I say, is at the Church Awakening over in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Tickets $20 in advance, $25 at the door. The doors open at 5 o'clock p.m. And of course, the show begins at 6 o'clock p.m. Again, so please do check this young lady out, okay? Check her out. But all right, ladies and gentlemen. So again, please do get by and check out Miss Hazel Mays. She wrote this play. And of course, if you don't have anything to do on November the 19th, please make plans to travel to Jonesboro, Arkansas to be part of that fun night. There's some nice, uh, uh, say, what do you call them? Actors, if you will, or actress. Going to be some good people playing in that play, and so please get out to show Miss Hazel Mays and her crew some love. Okay. I don't think there's anything else that I have to talk about, but again, oh yes, don't forget, today is the 9th, November the 15th. Testify will end season 3. Okay. We will come to an end. Well, I've been doing this now for 3 years. I'll be going into my 4th year come 23. So we still here. You know, we hadn't missed a beat. Been here year 1, year 2. We finally finna conclude year 3, and we will be going into year 4. And hopefully, you know, we can continue to bring you information that concerns you as to what goes on in the community. And I want to say this here and understand when I say this. This is your platform. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and others, this is your platform. If you have any information that you want to talk about that will benefit the community, okay, please give me a call. I will talk with you. I will look at your information, and if all check well, you can come on to the show, and we can allow you to go ahead and testify. Okay, so the 15th is the last day. We don't have long, and so I will be going into my break for the holidays, and excuse me, and I will not come back up until what is it? Be sometime in about the last March, the middle of March or the last of March. More than likely, it's going to be the last of March is when I come back up. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Again, we're going to be talking about, and please do, for those of you who didn't hear me last week, I believe, this board, this creation of the Criminal Nuisance Abatement Board. Mayor Sanders have not uh, put that board in place yet. This board specifically is designed to um, regulate certain nuisances, whatever it may be. It could be something to do with uh, people who are not good neighbors. Let me say that. We want everyone to be a good neighbor. That you have a resident, that in terms of a home, in terms of an apartment, in terms of some type of establishment, bar, or what have you, we want you to be good neighbors. We got elderly people that's living in the community, and please, they earn a right to some peace and quietness. And so, whatever you're doing throughout the community, please be very mindful that we have elderly people that live throughout the various communities. So please pay them some respect. When you go by, turn down your music. That's what I did when I was coming up. I respected old people. Even in my drinking days, if I come in contact or close proximity with some older person, whether they in church or not in church, I was respectful enough to at least try to hide my beard. But kids nowadays, just so disrespectful. But hopefully, we can, turn the table or what have you. But please be respectful and mindful that we got elderly people that lives in the various community. When you plan all this blasting music, all the gun shooting, they shooting guns now, you know, just horse playing, uh, and we need to put that board in place to regulate some of this stuff. Okay, it could be something with trashy yards. You got cars sitting in the yard. It just devalue other neighbors, your neighbor's property. Okay, we want you to be good neighbors. And so, Merrill Sanders, I'm sorry to say, uh, he intentionally failed to take care of this criminal nuisance abatement board before he left office, although he uh, promised us. When I say us, I mean the people, because this was passed. I think it was at 18, what is it, 1890, what, eight, not, that's the act, of course, that went through the House, but, and that's the state statute there for the creation of the board. But I want to say the city ordinance, I believe, is, I want to say 1260 or 1290. I forgot. But anyway, let's get into the show. What we're going to be talking about today is this 50% and this 40 uh, and 20%. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm going to shoot from the hip. Okay? I want to say this here. I'm not coming to you, speaking to you as an attorney. I'm not giving no legal advice or anything of the such. We're just going to have a discussion about the 50 and 1 majority rule and the 40 and 20% rule. Okay. Now, before I get started, I want to set the stage to first tell you all how these votes went. Uh, if I can go up here and find it. Let me go up here and find it right now. Just give me a minute. Don't have a switchboard, so it takes me a little while to go where I need to go. Okay, so just give me a minute, and we'll go up here and try to find it right now. Well, we're going to talk about some of the how the votes went. That's what we really want to talk about right now, and that's what I'm trying to find right now. Uh, bu- 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 Election results. There we go. So we're going to pull this up right now, and I better turn my phone on to make sure that I got everything on the board, or I don't have to go back and and try to put everything back up there. Okay. Hopefully you all see that. Uh, I need to make sure that I see it before I go any further. Okay. So it do appear that I do have it on the screen. Okay. We first of all we're going to talk about all of these. Just run through it right quick. We got the Jonah Merrill's race. You can just look right there. Michelle Williams. She won that election. She got 55% of the vote. Of course, Pastor Reverend Eddie Easy, Loretta Robertson, Terrence Williams, Leslie Atworth, and so forth. Kaiser, Ward 1, Ward 2. You can just, as I scroll down, you can just read along with me, and I just keep going. I just pause it for a minute, and then I just keep scrolling down. You all can read, okay? I do recognize the mayor's race there. Looked like there was a re-election for Mr. Lee Charles Brown, which he collected 187 votes to Jasper Jackson 60 votes. Mr. Brown, he carried 70% of the vote for his margin in that race to Jasper Jackson 24%. Okay. Now, all of these findings is by KAIT. I know there's Channel 3 News. They did some reporting. Our own town carrier newspaper, they did some reporting. But I had already tapped into KAIT, and so that's what I'm going with. This is the source of this information that I'm giving you now. Okay. We got Osceola Mayor. Of course, Mr. Joe Harris, he carried that election. He got 1,014 votes, or shall I say 72% of the vote. He carried that race. Gregory Baker got 225 at six, excuse me, at 16%. And of course, James Crabb Watson got 168. In that election, since Mr. Harris collected the majority of the votes, which he was over that 50.1% that we talked about, there will be no runoff. Okay. Now, this is another race. Stanley Williams, he ran for re-election. He was the top vote getter. He collected 30% of the vote. Donnie Ray Pugh, he came in second with 104, 27% of the vote. And Albert Beasley, he came in third place with 100 votes, which is at 26%. Chrissy, what's that? Latham, she got 51 votes, and I can't even pronounce that name. I just say Mr. Cunningham. He got 13 votes at 3%. Okay, and I'm almost sure that there will probably be a runoff since no one collected the 51% majority of the vote, and there was more than two candidates. So I imagine the 50-20% rule would kick in. And we'll talk about that later on. Osceola, Ward 2, position 1. I don't know if I told you the one that Stanley Williams, that was Ward 1, position 1. We're going now to Osceola City Council, Ward 2, position 1. Joe Guy, he was the top vote getter, 199 at 41% of the vote. Chris Fox, 155 at 32% of the vote. Tony Jefferson came in third, 134 votes at 27%. Excuse me. Again, no one reached 50.1% of the vote. So I assume that there'll probably be a runoff in it. Now we're at the Blytheville Mayoral race. Melissa Logan, she came in, well, she got 1,130 votes. These votes, if I didn't mention earlier before we started, these are unofficial. This is the unofficial count, okay? As they say, this is what is considered the projected winner, but nothing has been what you call lock in concrete. These votes hadn't been certified. They still have votes out to count, I'm told, the provisional votes, that is. I'll talk about that later. But she came in at 43% of the vote. John Mayberry got 595, 22% of the vote. Barbara McAdoo, she got 526 at 20% of the vote. If I didn't say anything earlier, Mr. Musgrave, he got 22% of the vote for second place. We have John Musgrave, he got 248 votes at 9%. Mr. Ronnie Hayes got 89 votes at 3%. Juanita V. Jackson, she got 54 votes at 2%. Jackie Wellpond got 12 votes, which is that she didn't register. She got 0% of the vote. And so I imagine in this race again, no one got 50.1% of the vote. So I imagine the 20% rule will kick in on that. I'll show you the statute for that in a minute. I keep talking about the 50-1 rule. I'll show you the statute in a minute, okay? The state statute, Arkansas state statute, which govern the runoff process. Okay, now we move into Ward 1, position 2 for the Blytheville City Council. Joaquin Benson Jr., he got 395 votes, 65 votes. He was the top vote getter at 40, what is that? Let me get up on the screen. 48% of the vote, which he collected. Tony Elmer got 270 votes at 35% of the vote. Anita King, she got 133 at 17% of the vote. Again, no one reached that 50.1% majority. So I imagine the 40 and the 20% rule will kick in on it. Okay. We got the Gosnell Mayoral's race. Jason M. Taylor, he was the top vote getter, 411 votes at 73%. Darrell, Grissom, 112 votes at 20%. Robert Charles, 39 votes at 7%. Well, Mr. Taylor, he succeeded that 50-1% majority rule of the vote, so there will be no runoff. He's the top vote getter, and so he will take office without a runoff. And we have Gosnell Council Ward 1, position 1. Steve, Ledbetter, 84 votes, 52% of the vote. Cody Mays, 79 votes at 48% of the vote. There will be no runoff. And that mirrors, City Council Ward 1, position 1. We have City Council Ward 2, position 1. We have John Wesley Pate, 136 votes at 57%. Daniel Holyfield, 95 votes, 40%. Sean Sanford, 8 votes at 3%. He reached that 50.1% of the majority of the votes. There will be no runoff. Gosnell Ward 3, position 2. You have Dale Freeman, 67 votes at 45%. Katie Walker, 46% at 46 votes, excuse me, at 31%. And Wayne, what's that, Beckenridge, 36 votes, 24%. No one reached 50.1% majority of the votes. So again, I'm saying that the 40-20% rule kick in. Dale Mayer, Danny Moody got 52 votes. He's a projected winner, 54% of the vote. Trent Davison, 23 votes at 24%. Don R. Usually, 22 votes at 23%. Won't be a runoff in that election. He got 54% of the majority of the votes, and so won't be no runoff. Then we have Dale Council, position 5. Roger Dale Short, 56 votes. Angie, Davidson, 39 votes, 59% to 41%, no runoff. And it just goes on. I'm finna get ready to close this out. We have the Manila Mayoral race. Tracy W. Renthart, 422 votes at 47%. Pamela A. Chipman, 235 at 26%. Greg Smith, 142 votes at 16%. Johnny, Isabella, 57 votes at 6%. Donnie Wagner, 40 votes at 4%. Then, of course, you get in that race there, more than likely will be a runoff. No one get the majority of the 51.1% of the vote. Okay. Who else do we have? That's Manila's mayor. I think we just did that one. Manila Council Ward 3, position 2. Bobby Tate, 462, 53% of the vote. Wendell, Potty, 210 votes at 24%. Tommy Hawkins, 205 at 23%. Leachville Mayor, Rodney Robertson, 314. Paul J. Lancaster, 106. No runoff in that election, 75%, 25%. Same with Leachville Ward 3, position 1. Michael Webster and Kevin Cooper, 297 to 116, 75% to 28%. Mississippi County Constable, Fletcher Township, Vanny James, 161, 69% of the vote. To Dwayne Seaton, 74 votes at 31%. Clearly, there won't be no runoff in that one. I think we're familiar with this one, the Mississippi County Assessor, Brianna Bibbs, at 4,545 votes at 53% of the vote. Mark Terry, 3,017 votes at 35%. Stanley Parks, 1,015 votes at 12%. Mrs. Bibbs got over the margin, the 50.1% of the votes. She did get the majority, so there will not be a runoff in that 3 candidate race. Mississippi County Justice of the Peace, Reggie Cullum, he won his election, 511 to 377 to Howard Bubble Norvell, which he came in at 42, collected 42% of the vote. And they just go on. Mississippi County Coroner. We did have one other race here for Blytheville. Shirley Middlebrooks Marshall. She got 346 votes at 51% to Billy Fair. 335 votes. There will not be no runoff in that one. Miss Marshall, she was over the 50.1% majority of the vote to collect the majority of the vote. Mississippi County Constable, Hector Township, you can just read on and just keep going on. Lepanto Mayor, 259 to 182 to Ernie Hill, 59% to 41%, no runoff in that one. The same with Lepanto Council, City Council race. And I just thumbed through this here. We have a Moultrie mayoral race. I don't know what went on in this one. It was my understanding, I thought Mr. Crockett won this race. I don't know what happened. At least that's what I saw on Facebook. But McDaniel, Danny Johnson, the third, 318 votes to Larry Crockett, 237 votes, 57% of the vote to 43% of the vote. So that's the one in that race for mayor. And these others, I'm pretty sure you all don't know. I just pause it for a minute and let you look at it. And I just keep going. We're almost at the bottom, I believe. I don't think we actually know any of these other people in these other local communities. So that's why I'm just pretty much thumbing through it. If I see anything near Mississippi County or whatever, I'll stop. But I don't, to allow the manufacture and sale of intoxicating liquor in the city of Weiner, Arkansas. So they finna get their drink on. So that passed. I don't see nothing else that we are familiar with in terms of vote, and so I'm gonna go ahead and close this out because all these other elections I don't think we know anything about. Okay, I'm just scrolling, and if I don't see anything else more, I think you all know that the governor's race, Miss Huckabee won that race. I don't guess I passed Monty Hodges and Crawford race, but I will say Mr. Hodges, I will say he did real well to be running for that national seat against the incumbent. And so that's that, y'all. So we're going to close that out. Now, the only other thing that I wanted to show you all is if I can go up here and find it. I'm gonna close this out first. But the only other thing that I wanted to show you all, what started this thing with the 40-20 back in the primaries, I believe. I don't know if it was KAIT news reporter, but they indicated they was the first to talk about the 40-20 rules. So let's go ahead and play that right quick, and then we'll get into what the law say. Okay, we'll see what the law say. Okay, here we go. This is it here. So this is not but a, you know how it is. They're not but about I'll say probably, I don't know, probably 45 seconds if that. Okay, so let's go ahead and play that right quick. We're almost at the bottom, y'all. And then I'm gonna turn it over to you all if you got any comments. All right. And as I say, don't be scared. Speak up. Don't be scared. All right. All right. Now here we go. I think this is it here. We're gonna see if we can play this. All right. Let's see if we get it. I think we get it. Now, let's go ahead and I'm gonna mute my mic for a minute so you all can be able to hear it. I want you to pay close attention to what she said about the 40-20% rule, okay? Here we go. Let me go up here and
It's the last day of early voting in Arkansas, and runoff elections are not uncommon, especially when more than two candidates are running for office. We go out to Monet Stevens, who is live at the Craighead County Election Annex with more on how runoff is determined. Monet.
Hey, Diana. Well, Elections Coordinator Jennifer Clack said it's possible one of these races could have a runoff election next month. Now, here's how runoff is determined. Runoff elections are declared if one candidate has 40% of the votes, while the other candidate has at least 20% in a race. However, Clack mentioned it's possible a candidate can still win that race.
I'm not sure what happened. Well, you all, I'm not sure what happened. Well, you all, I'm not sure what happened with the volume went out on that, but I'm pretty sure you all heard what was said. I just closed that out. She was talking about the 50, excuse me, the 40, 20% rule. Now, I will say this here. I did speak with Mrs. Janice Curie, and she also explained it to me about the 50.1% of the majority of the votes. That's when you declare the winner. Okay. She did walk me through that. Of course, I also spoke last week, and I also spoke today with the attorney with the Arkansas Board of Election Commissioners. I think I'm pronouncing it right. But I also spoke with that office. And the way it was explained to me was that regardless of how many candidates that are in the race, in order to be the outright winner of any particular race, you must reach the 50.1% majority of the votes. Okay, that's the outright winner. All right. The only other option in terms of a winner, this is where the runoff rule kicks in. If a candidate at least win 40% of the vote, that candidate, okay, who won, that candidate must have a 20% more of the vote than the person who came in second. Okay? If the person falls below that 20% what you call lead among the second place finisher, then it must be a runoff. I asked the state attorney, or not the state attorney, the Arkansas attorney for the election commissioner. I put that scenario to him about three candidates. He explained on both ends, the 50.1% majority rule, and he also explained it, the 40-20% rule. He explained them both. And my understanding was this: if there was any candidate that did not get 50.1% of the vote, okay, the only way that candidate can fend off a runoff is that candidate must maintain 20% or more than her second place finisher. In this particular case, Mrs. Melissa Logan, she is the projected winner in the Blytheville Mayoral race. She is the projected winner, although it's unofficial. Okay? It's unofficial based on the count that we got. I also understand from speaking with the county clerk office today, they have some provisional ballots boxes that they need to count. Okay. To my understanding, once they count those votes, I asked her how many votes are they looking at. They say they didn't know. Okay. So I don't know how many votes it is. Somebody said it's 100. I don't know where they got that number from. But what was told to me today, they don't know how many provisional ballots that they need to go through, because the boxes, when the ballots come in, they're being boxes. And so I imagine they go through them, and at that point, they'll know exactly what's to count as far as number provisional ballots that they got to go through. Okay. So when those provisional ballots come in, which they probably not even go through those, I don't look for them to go through them before this week is out. Maybe sometime early next week or later next week. But the provisional ballots, for those of you who don't know what a provisional ballot is, in layman term, whenever you go to the polls to vote, and there is some problems with your voter information, okay? It could be something as simply as you probably didn't have your ID, voter registration, voter ID, excuse me. You didn't have a license. There probably was some question with you, maybe living in the city or maybe living in a particular ward or what have you. There could be a lot of things going on. You could be a felon who hadn't satisfied all the requirements for your voting rights to be restored. And so if that is the case, they will still let you vote, but they will give you what is called a provisional ballot. Okay. And what they do in layman term, they let you vote, but it's like they sit that vote to the side until they check out your information. Once they check out your information, if everything checked well, there's whatever problems or concerns that they did have about your information, if it has been confirmed and everything is satisfied, then your vote will count for whatever particular candidate that you voted for. But if your information, once they check it out and there's some problems with it as they thought, then your vote won't count. They throw that vote out. It won't count. So that's the best way to understand it, is that a provisional ballot, there's something wrong with your information or what have you, and they have to check it out. Once they check it out, if everything is fine, straight by the book, your vote will count. If things are not fine with whatever information that you presented to them, then your vote will not count and they will throw it out. So once the provisional ballots come in and the votes, for those good votes, or what I call them for layman terms, if all the votes for the provisional ballot that check good, whether it was 100, whether it was 50, 200, or whatever the count might be, whatever, or however those votes was cast for whatever particular candidate, it could very well determine whether or not we're going to have a runoff in the mayor's election, because it's real tight. When we start talking about that 20% lead that the projected winner, Miss Melissa Logan, she must maintain 20% or above. They can't be 19%. 19%, you force a runoff. But if she can maintain 20% or more, better than her second place finisher, which is Mr. John Mayberry, if she can maintain 20% or more, there will not be no runoff. That's the way that it was explained to me. And I spoke with, like I say, I spoke with the county election clerk, and I've also spoken, in fact, again today, I've spoken with the the attorney, I guess he's from Little Rock, with the Arkansas Election Commissioner's office. And he and I talked for, wasn't long, because I asked him one or two questions and he answered those questions to my satisfaction, and I was done. Probably didn't take 5 minutes at the most. All right. But anyway, that's my understanding of it. Now, just to show you what this 40% rule, I'm gonna go up here and find it for you. And I want you to read along with me, okay? It's not long at all. And I want you all to read along with me. And after that, I'm gonna turn it over to the comment section, and we're gonna close this thing out, y'all. All right. So let me go up here and find that right now. Okay. And here we go, right here. Now, let me scroll back up first before I allow you all to read this. Let me scroll back up, give you the statute number. Okay, you can look this up yourself. That's the statute right there. This is Arkansas Code Title 7. This is on election. Okay, Arkansas State Statute 7-5-106. Right there where I'm got my cursor over to your right hand side. That's the state statute. As a matter of fact, there's a few other statutes in there that you might also can read that explains exactly some things that are associated with runoff elections in terms of the majority, the majority vote, person who gets the most votes, what I'm trying to say, majority of the votes. And you also can read a little bit more about what is called the 40-20% rule. That's what I call it, okay? For those of you that understand. Anyway, that is the title. Now, let's scroll back down, man. And I'm not going to read that top. That top is just pretty much speaking about what happened in the election. There's the county election, where there's 2 candidates for an election to any county elected office. And they say including the justice of the peace at any general election held in the state, and no candidate for the county elected office receive a majority of the votes cast for the county elected office, there should be a runoff general election held in that county 4 weeks following the date of the general election, at which the names of the 2 candidates receiving the highest number of votes, but not a majority. We was talking about that 50-1. That's what we're talking about when we say not a majority, shall be placed on the ballot to be voted upon by the qualified electors of the county. Now, this is what I got highlighted in blue. This is where we start talking about the municipal races, okay? That what you see highlighted in blue. I'm keeping it highlighted for now. I'll click it off later, but I'm just trying to show you the area where I'm at, okay? Section 2, starting with cap A there, it say the following procedure will govern if there are more than 2 candidates for election to any municipal office at any general election held in this state, in which no candidate for the municipal office receive either a majority of the votes cast, okay, or a plurality of 40% of the votes cast, okay? And BI, a candidate who received a plurality of 40% of the votes cast must obtain at least 20% more of the votes cast than the second place candidate for the municipal office to avoid a runoff general election against the second place candidate. That's it right there, section B. Again, we first look at the 51%, which is considered to be the majority of the votes cast. Clearly, if you all remember, Mrs. Melissa Logan collected like 48% of the votes cast in a 7-candidate race for mayor. Coming in second place was John Mayberry. Now, I don't know where the percentages stand right now. She may have that 20% as of today. I think she may have that 20%. If there's no other votes that will fall for the candidate, John Mayberry, to force a runoff, then we will be looking at Mrs. Melissa Logan to be considered the winner of the Blytheville mayoral race. But again, there is yet provision of ballots that need to be counted, and who knows how those votes will fall. Not only who knows how those votes will fall, but will they be legal votes? In other words, that's the purpose of a provision of ballot. You know, there are some concerns with the information that was presented, or there's some concern with the voter, him or herself. Like I said, they could be, say, a felon. In other cases, they might not have satisfied a restitution that they was ordered by the court. Restitution, which means to pay a fine for a particular crime that a person might have committed in the past. If they do not satisfy certain things that they are ordered or mandated by the court, if they do not satisfy those conditions in order for their voting rights to be restored, some folks call it a privilege, but I thought voting was a right and not a privilege. So I don't know how they can even take it from you anyway. It's not a voting privilege. It's called the Voting Right Act of 1965. It's not called the Voting Privilege of 1965. It's the Voting Rights Act. So I don't even know that is something that probably need to go before the United States Supreme Court. It's a right. You know, it's not a privilege. But anyway, I'll read that again for those of you that didn't hear me, and I'm gonna close it out. This is how a runoff may take place. A candidate who receives a plurality of 40% of the votes cast must obtain at least 20% or more of the votes cast than the second place candidate for the municipal office to avoid a runoff general election against the second place candidate. I'm hoping that you all understood that, what I just read. If not, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Go and speak with an attorney. If I didn't explain it correctly, please be my guest to go and speak with an attorney. But again, if you don't reach that threshold of 50.1% majority of votes cast, then the 40% rule kick in. If that candidate didn't get 40% of the vote, you still got to have a runoff. I know we're talking about 40%, but if that candidate didn't get 40% of the vote, you know, you have to have a runoff. But if that candidate got 40%, that's the first bar she has to clear, or he has to clear. Did they get 40% of the vote? In this particular case, Mrs. Melissa Logan, she got 40+% of the vote, which 48% is what she got. She would have to get 20% or should I say she will have to maintain, because the way I understand it, she have that 20% right now. She would have to maintain 20% or more than the second place finisher, which is John Mayberry, in order to be considered the clear winner for the 2022 Blytheville Mayoral race. So that's it. I hope I explained it. So I know that there's been some people who already done went and stated that Miss Logan is the winner, or is the winner of the race. Unofficially, she's the winner. She's the projected winner, unofficially. But until all the votes are counted, meaning the provisional ballot. Now, if those provisional ballots come back and they throw them all out and none of them good, Miss Logan made history. She would be considered the Blytheville first Black woman to hold the office of the mayorship. Merrill Sanders was the first Black man. Now Mrs. Logan, she will, if everything holds her way, she will be Blytheville first Black woman to serve as mayor. That's all I have, you all. I don't think I have anything else, no more than that. And we don't get long. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the rest of this time over to you all, and I'm gonna call it tonight. So I'm gonna go to the board right now and see what we got. Okay, see what we have. That's Miss Collins. How you doing there? We have Mrs. Anderson. I don't mean any harm at all, but drinking is worse. I never indulge in any, but my 5-year-old grandson was killed from a drunk driver. Shut it down also. I don't know what Miss Anderson is referring to. I'm not sure what she's talking about, unless she's talking about. I was speaking about the marijuana that was on the ballot, that was voted down. But in terms of drinking, I don't think drinking going nowhere, Mrs. Anderson. That's something that's been around for, Lord knows, decades. So it's not going anywhere. I appreciate your comment, though. We have congratulations to you, Mr. Hollis. I don't know. I appreciate your support, Ms. Barclay. I'm just trying to put the information out. I hope those who are looking on, whichever candidate that you supported, I got no dog in this fight. I didn't participate on any candidate, in their circle. I didn't participate in any. Neither of the candidates came on my show, and so I don't have a dog in this fight. So I'm just reporting the information. How you doing, Mrs. Rump? What else we have here? We have Mrs. Anderson again. So they passed the drinking. I don't know what you're referring to, Mrs. Anderson. Drinking liquor have always been legal. If you 21 years old, you can drink. Is it 21 or 18? I can't remember. Been so long. But drinking alcohol has always been legal for those of 18, 21? I don't know. I ain't drinking. I don't know when. I'm just gonna say 21 years old. You're 21 years old, you can drink. That's always been, as long as I've been out of high school, drinking been around. That's been a long time ago. Uh, we have let me see who we have. That's Miss Williams. How you doing, Miss Williams? Um, Glad to see you on, brother. Yeah, I've been running all day and 8 hours late. Uh, 8 hours late. Uh, how you doing, my brother Corey Nams? How you doing? It's Miss Anderson, exactly. Okay, you all. I'm down at the bottom. Um, I hope I said something to kind of shed some light on what's going on with all the talk about the the voting in regards to the runoff or what have you. Uh, Unofficially, it is correct. Mrs. Melissa Logan is considered to be the winner of the Blytheville Mayoral race. She is the projected winner. Although the votes will have to be certified, of course, but before that certification, they would have to go ahead and go through whatever provisional ballots that they have. Okay. So that's all I have. Don't forget, my show ends. Okay. It ends on November the 15th. Okay. My show ends. And so if you want to get it in, get it in. Again, this discussion was on the 50.1 majority of votes cast, explaining what was it in order to be considered the outright winner. And if you didn't get that 50.1% of the majority rule, I mean, the majority of votes cast, then you have to refer to the 40-20% rule. And it seemed like that's what we had in a lot of races, especially down in Osceola in the city council races, that is. And so I will say this here is that regardless of who becomes the mayor, we need to work with whatever mayor that is put in place. I will do that regardless of who the mayor might be, that it be Mrs. Logan or that it be Councilman John Mayberry. I can work with either one of them. Matter of fact, me and Mrs. Logan already didn't have a talk. Okay, I'm gonna be able to try to pick back up on this board. I talked to Mrs. Logan about that, this abatement board, and I also talked to Mrs. Logan about, of course, this is before the election, of course, about moving Blytheville forward. We need to understand that when it comes to moving Blytheville forward, we got to stop the bleeding. What am I talking about? It takes money. It takes money to restore this city. As long as we keep giving away millions of dollars to a golf course that has been losing money for probably right at a decade or more, losing money, and we continue to throw $400,000-$500,000 or more to a golf course that's bringing in peanut money, that's a loss. I'm not saying chop up the golf course, but if it made money once before, what happened? Because I don't remember it making money. We got to do something if we want to save Blytheville and we want to fix our streets, okay, our infrastructure. It's going to take money to do that. I'm going to show you something, and I'll try to show it before I get off. Is you've been lied to for so many years that they couldn't do nothing with the golf course because of certain grand park or association or something that it's almost like they say their hands is tied. They can't do anything legally with the golf course. That's a lie. And I'm gonna show you how that's a lie. I got the information to show you. There is a way out with this golf course. If no one have a plan to how we can make money with this golf course, we got to cut ties with this golf course. there's not many people that play golf here in the city of Blytheville. It's not very many people, and I just think it's just downright wrong for 85–90% of the people to carry something that they either have no interest in playing or what have you. So why should that expense or that tax be pushed over on folks that who don't have a desire to play golf? Seems like that money can be put in some type of youth program, and Lord knows we need our streets fixed. So, but anyway, that's my little 2 cents. I will be talking more about it. I'm not going to talk anymore about the police department. I started to, but I don't think it's going to do no good. I'm not going to speak about it. In fact, even the candidates, they didn't go 2 cents near issues as it relates to the police department. They didn't go 2 cents near it. They was afraid, all of them. You know, for some reason, they did not speak about the police department. I don't know what it is, but I do know what it is. But, you know, none of them, they didn't say anything about the police department. I think the question was asked to them to assess the leadership within the police department. You know, I think Mrs. Jackson probably gave the best answer. You know, she said terrible for the leadership, not the patrol officers, the leadership. And I agree with her wholeheartedly that the leadership and the rankings of the police department for Blytheville is pitiful. But anyway, it's my show, y'all. I'm getting ready to shed it out. Look like I got another comment over here. I don't know who it is. I will. Let me see. I will. Ross need to go. I heard that. That was Mrs. Barclay. She said she will. She'll say something. And but yeah, we're gonna to be honest with you, y'all, I'm getting ready to close out for real. You know, to be honest with you, I had indicated that if we don't get change in the leadership of a certain department heads here in Blytheville, whoever the mayor might turns out to be, what is Mrs. Logan, which she is a projected winner, as we know now, but it hadn't been official, okay? Or whether it's any of the other candidates, Mr. Mayberry, of course. If whoever the mayor is, and we got to watch them, if they keep the same people in office, or not in office, in a position, let me just use that word. I'm talking about department heads. We have public works. I think there need to be changes in that department head. Okay. We have this golf facility. There definitely need to be some changes in that department head. I don't know who it is. Parks and Recreation. I'm so sick and tired of the museum taking money away from the parks. And these people are making a nice little salary at the museum, and they're making a nice little salary at this golf course. But we're not making any money, no real money. There need to be changes in the department heads. Whoever the mayor is, if they keep these same folks in position, department heads, in the police department too. Everybody else afraid, except for me and Mrs. Barclay, of course. Listen, Chief Thompson had his run, okay? He has his, this man probably been what? I bet it's probably close to 15 years this man been chief. 10, 12 years easy. We know it's been 12 because Mayor Sanders been mayor for 12 years. That's a long time for any chief. And to have a record like the chief of police, his record is lousy. in terms of recruitment. A lot of officers that he recruit, they problematic. A lot of them have been charged with sex crimes. A lot of them have been charged with assault, kidnapping. There's others has been charged with murder, or not murder, theft, stealing. It's just so many other stuff. I mean, just misconduct. Period. One of them got to fighting back here a few years ago over in Jonesboro. Couldn't hold his liquor. Got to fighting. They end up terminating him. But there are other officers that they treated badly. One officer got fired for parking his vehicle in a handicapped parking space. But they give a man a pat on the back, and they will increase him in promotion for shooting a man in his back. Give a man a promotion for turning loose a dog on a person that they was trying to apprehend, and that cost them $100,000. Tased a man who was jogging, that cost him a lawsuit. A young man who was jogging. There was another man who was tased because he wouldn't open up his door of his apartment. Tased in the back, that cost him. Police officers being promoted that didn't have the credentials to be promoted. But because of a favoritism system, Chief Thompson promoted them. There's other officers who are worthy to be promoted up in the rankings or what have you, they overlook. Mrs. Logan or John Mayberry, if you're listening, we expect for you to make some changes in a department heads. Yes, we expect for you to do the right thing. Chief Thompson has had his reign. It's time for him to go, Miss Logan. I'm hoping Mrs. Logan will pop on right now. She popped on last time. I mean, we need to hear from her. We need to hear from her. If she maintains this lead, as she might take this seat as mayor, we need to hold her feet to the fire like we did Mayor Sanders. I told Mayberry that. Nobody gets a pass. It's time for changes in every, well, I'm not going to say every, but there's a lot of department heads where they need to be changed. That's my show, y'all. I'm getting ready to get out of here. You all have a blessed remaining day. And if I have to come back on, what's the day? Like I say, I'm gonna try to get it all in before the 15th. I don't know when I'm coming back on, but unless something changed, I know I'll be coming back on when this vote tally come out, the final vote tally, and pretty much give you all that. And after that, we're gonna call it. At least I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it the year for season 3. Okay, so that's all I have, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you all get to that play of Mrs. Hazel May. For those of you who didn't see it, let me play it for you again. Okay. You are not the wife. She wrote this play. That's the information you can call. The location of where the play is going to be, Jonesboro, Arkansas, at the Awakening Church. Tickets $20 and a van, $25 at the door. They started opening up the door at 5 o'clock p.m. and the show started at 6. So please, I do plan on purchasing a ticket, and hopefully you will too. So that's my show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say to you all, stay blessed. I don't know what this is over here. What is that? I think I already showed that. What is that? Oh, yeah, I showed that. I want to say to you all, stay blessed. And please do try to catch me close out these last few days that I have. And please do share my videos, and I will be coming back to you for a year. Season 4 of the Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. So again, I want to say I enjoyed bringing this information to you all. And please do cross over on YouTube and check me out there. And I want you to subscribe to my channel, okay? My YouTube channel. So you can watch me on Facebook or you can catch me on YouTube. And please do share. Peace and love. God bless and good night.